Sell! You hear me? Sell everything! Sell everything! Oh, hello. Welcome to another episode of Deden's Global Politics, where each week I'll be bringing you short lessons aligned directly with the Unit 3 and 4 Global Politics curriculum to ensure that you have the best chances of success at the exam and in life. This lesson will be beginning Unit 3 Area Study 1, which is called Global Actors. And no, I'm not referring to Leonardo DiCaprio. What's that? I'm fired. What it actually focuses on are the different actors in global politics like states, international organizations, and corporations. Drawing on the key knowledge and skills from Unit 3 Area Study 1 Outcome 1, these are the things you'll need to be able to do. Identify and explain the aims and roles of global actors. Evaluate the power of each actor. Assess the extent to which each actor achieves its aims. Now, there are a huge amount of actors that the study design says you need to know, and we're going to focus on one per lesson. First up, the state. First, some history. The state system is commonly accepted to have come into being after the signing of the Treaty of Westphalia in 1648, which ended the 30 Years' War. The 30 Years' War was a war between European Protestants and European Catholics, which lasted for 30 years. Oh yeah. The war also resulted in the deaths of 7.2 million people and is considered one of the most destructive conflicts of all time. What's that? Only Islam's a violent religion. Bullshit! Violence is everywhere! Anyway, the Treaty of Westphalia created the principle of Caius Regio Eius Religio, that's not the Latin pronunciation. Hey, I don't give a fucking shit. Which meant that each ruler, or sovereign, was free to set the religion of their territory without interference from other sovereigns. Protestants could be in some territories, Catholics in others. They weren't supposed to intervene. Since then, these non-interferable territories, have come to be known as states. And then this principle of Caius Regio Eius Religio has since warped into the notion of state sovereignty, which in theory should give all contemporary states protection from outside influence. Of course, in practice, rich and powerful states are able to laugh off international organizations and assert their sovereignty whenever it's convenient, while poorer, weaker states are pretty much constantly being interfered with. Is there nothing good in the world? Okay, that's the history out of the way. In the study design, you need to know the following things for this outcome. First, you need to be able to identify and explain the aims and roles of states. Second, you need to be able to evaluate the power of states. Third, you need to be able to assess the extent to which states achieve their aims. And fourth, you need to be able to discuss challenges facing state sovereignty. Today's lesson is just going to look at key knowledge and skills 1, 2, and 3, and next lesson we'll look at the challenges to state sovereignty because they're very big topics. So, number 1, identify and explain the aims of states. States have one aim: to achieve their national interests. Specific national interests may vary from state to state, and you'll cover more of this in the next area of study, but basically every national interest can be boiled down to 3 things: security, stability, and economic well-being. It's pretty much the same principle that holds for every living organism. Unless you're a creative hipster, in which case you'd trade security, stability, and economic well-being for a fixie, a single origin pour-over, an SLR camera, and a parent wagging their finger in your face saying, "Why don't you just make something of your life?" Because I'm a creative, you suit. Sock puppet comedy. Alright, stop that. If there was a hipster state, it would probably be Canada or Denmark. Anyway, states are kind of like households, in that they don't want to be interfered with, burgled, attacked, or anything like that, so they'll build up their military, team up with other countries when they need to, and go to war preemptively to ensure their own security. States, like households again, don't want their family to begin slaughtering one another, staging a revolution, or trying to flip the order on its head, so they'll make every effort to keep their household either brutally controlled, happily content, or a mix of both. Furthermore, states like households want to be able to afford things and provide some kind of economic well-being either to all of the population or to some of it, because that will help to ensure that social political order and maintain security. So, takeaway 1. The main aim of states is the achievement of their national interests. National interests could be a range of specific goals, but almost always concern security, stability, economic well-being, or a combination of these things. The next thing you'll need to be able to do is evaluate the power of states. This key knowledge point wants you to evaluate the relative power of states with regards to other global actors. Basically, states are the primary and theoretically most powerful actor in global politics because of their armies, money, and sovereignty. Even if they've signed treaties which supposedly bind them to international law, they don't have to follow these treaties and therefore these laws because there is no impartial body who enforces international law. In fact, Team America World Police is literally the closest thing we have to an enforcement body.
Smart ass motherfucker!
In reality, it just comes down to vigilante justice or states touching each other, but putting those differences aside if money can be made. Making it rain! This means rich and powerful states like America or China, or those states who enjoy the protection and guarantees of these countries, can largely do whatever the hell they like in global politics in the pursuit of their national interests and those fundamental goals of security, stability, and economic well-being. On the flip side, poor and weak countries find themselves a lot more constrained in the pursuit of their national interests because they rely on more powerful states or international organizations to help them achieve those national interests, and so need to use the Latin phrase, bend over a lot more. Think about it like this. One of your national interests is to get a car. You take a loan from your parents to buy your first car. Your parents might put conditions on that loan, such as you having to drive your siblings around, or you have to go on a strict repayment plan. Similarly, in order to pursue their own national interests, weak states may take loans from stronger states or creditor states. That strong state or creditor state might put conditions on that loan, but instead of driving siblings around, the weak state or debtor state may have to restructure its entire economy in a manner that better suits the creditor state. So, takeaway 2. When evaluating the power of states, we can see that wealthy and more powerful states have a greater ability to pursue their own national interests unconstrained by other actors, including other states. On the other hand, poorer, weaker states are more constrained in pursuing the national interests by their reliance on other actors, including other states. The final thing we're going to look at today is assessing the extent to which states achieve their aim. Now, we've largely sort of covered this over this lesson, but as you'll see in future lessons, states do tend to be able to achieve their aims a lot more easily than other global actors. That's because states have money, guns, and therefore influence. However, as we've spoken about today, the more powerful state you are, the easier it will be for you to achieve those aims, those national interests. Whereas the weaker you are, the more difficult it will be for you to achieve those national interests in an unconstrained manner. So, takeaway 3. States are able to achieve their aims, that is, their national interests, to varying degrees. More powerful states have an easier time pursuing and achieving their national interests, while weaker states will find themselves more constrained. Okay guys, that's lesson 2, which broadly covered the aims of states, evaluated the power of states, and assessed the extent to which states can achieve their aims. Really interesting lesson coming up for you next, guys. We're going to be looking at some factors that constrain state sovereignty. Here's a hint. The richer states don't really give a shit about these things.